Sharonda, don't forget to hit. Okay, there
All
we go.
right, hello. Hey there, hey there, hey there. Hello, everyone. Um, we'll give it a few moments. If any of you want to share this live on your pages, now is the time. Hello, everyone. In a few moments, we will be moving forward with the state of the consortium, an overview of 2020 and a look ahead to 2021. I will be resharing my screen in 1 second. Share. There we are. Okay, hello everyone. While everyone is having a moment to join, I'm going to ask those of you that are with us in the Zoom room to please mute. And you can, of course, use the chat to ask questions. I'll ask a member of the team to keep an eye on the admit for other partners that are joining to just go ahead and let them right on in. We are going live to Facebook, and this is a overview and presentation for the Sickle Cell Consortium. Hello, 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 everyone. Just going to give it 2 more moments, and we will be jumping right in. I believe we are live to this consortium's Facebook page. Is that correct?
Give me 1 moment. It's telling me it's still preparing.
Oh, all right. Well, we're going to wait then, everyone, while that works out. Hope everyone's having a great day. A more extensive version of some of these reviews that we're giving today will be available. And of course, our partner-facing executive summary for 2020. You all will be getting that. Usually you receive that along with the directory. We're going to update the directory with our new partners and make sure everyone gets that. Yeah, I don't see it on the page yet. Everyone just bear with us while we get this going live. Is it working out, Sharonda? Sharonda? I see you all moving, so I don't think I'm frozen. Is Sharonda gone? She might have froze.
You're not frozen, Kia. I can still hear you.
Sharonda is muted.
Sharonda? Sharonda, love.
You're good. You're live on Facebook now. She's sending messages via hand signals.
I see. Wonderful. All right. Well, hello, 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 everyone. I see it. If any of you wanted to share it, that is there now. Hi, everyone. We are coming live to share an overview of the Sickle Cell Consortium, a review of 2020, and I look forward to 2021. Thank you all for joining. Again, just a quick reminder, we are live to Facebook. For those partners that are in the Zoom room with us, please, everyone, mute your computers. If staff, if some of you will continue letting people in here, and if I need a couple of you to watch the chat here and also the chat live on Facebook. I see that we already have a few questions coming in onto the Facebook, so someone please make sure that we are getting those questions as well. All right, we're going to get started. It is 7:14, 7:15, essentially. There are people in the waiting room. Thank you. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Lakia Bailey. I'm the Executive Director of the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. I am also an adult living with sickle cell disease. And I'm one of the founders of the consortium. And I'm very excited for us to take this time to give our annual State of the Consortium address which is a overview of the previous year and a look forward into 2021. Please join me in welcoming Sharonda. I'm excited to have Sharonda on the team, to be working with Sharonda, our Director of Operations. Sharonda.
Hello and good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the State of the Consortium. Guys, we have an amazing presentation for you guys to let you know exactly what's happening with the consortium. And I am Sharonda Sykes. I am the Director of Operations for the consortium. I am newly the Director of Operations, and I am super excited to be a part of it and to make sure that we continue to have our voices heard and that we stay united as we go into 2021. Now we are going to have Dr. Bailey come and talk to us about the amazing things that we're going to be talking about this evening. You're muted.
Thank you, Sharonda. I am excited, everyone, for this opportunity to talk to you all about the Sickle Cell Consortium and to be joined with the Sickle Cell team and with our partners here in the Zoom room as we have this overview. We will discuss, I will give some information about the consortium for those who are not familiar. Of course, you can always find out more information online. We will have a review of 2020, and there's quite a bit that we did in 2020. A lot got done, as you could see on that screen, and then we will discuss a look forward for 2021. And we will give you a few spotlights of what we are looking forward to. And then we will attempt to answer a lot of questions regarding credentialing and what that is and what it means. And for existing partners, of course, during the partner meeting, we talked a bit about that. New partners, those of you that are looking to join with us or have questions, we will get into a lot of that. So I will get us started with an overview of the Sickle Cell Consortium. So for those of you that are not aware, we were actually founded the point of the Sickle Cell Consortium, it came about over lots of discussion, a year's worth with advocates, patients, caregivers, community-based executive directors, about a need to create a platform where the patient and caregiver was at the center. And this platform would be to sort of equalize our voices, to address needs, to find out what we want to change, and then actively change it. I often say that, I know many of you have heard me say before, that when you're living with a chronic illness, you are often taught helplessness. You are taught to believe that you can't. Well, what we as a consortium realized early on is that helplessness is learned. And if it is learned, then it can be unlearned. The point of the consortium is to take charge with our own hands as patients and caregivers and create the change that we want to see in this community. So the purpose of the consortium is to provide this platform for patients, caregivers, community-based organizations to become directly involved in defining problems, needs, and gaps, and then addressing those needs. We do this by providing, the organization itself provides a centralized infrastructure for a lot of projects, multi-stakeholder strategies, multiple partners, government agencies, the industry or pharma, whomever, so that we can all work together to address an issue that a patient or caregiver has defined. Multiple partners join us together. We are created of multiple groups. The Sickle Cell Consortium is a collective with the unofficial motto of nothing for us without us. And of these partners, we have credentialed partner CBOs. We'll get more into credentialing and what that means, but these are 501c3 organizations that are designed with a mission that is aligned with the mission of the consortium and are actively working in the sickle cell space. Junior CBOs, these are organizations that are not yet 501c3, but are working to get to that point, and they will commit to being fully independent 501c3 within the next 2 to 3 years. Occasionally, a fourth year might be added for under extreme circumstances. Sponsored patient orgs, these are groups that have no intention of becoming a 501c3, but instead are doing work in the sickle cell community like a support group. Sometimes there are patient or caregiver groups that are active in this space, but they are falling under, are sponsored by usually a hospital, a clinic, another CBO, or some organizing entity. And then we partner with the independent patient and caregiver. These are patient family advocates who are not part of the executive leadership of an existing organization, but they are active leaders in this space, key opinion leaders. They are the ones who are still the active advocates. As you'll notice, we partner specifically with those that are active in the sickle cell community, that are active educators, advocates, philanthropists, whatever it is, and we gather together as this collective. We also partner, we create sort of advisory boards. So we partner with medical research advisors to form the Medical Research Advisory Board. We have educators and long-term homeschoolers, which form that board to sort of inform on education, particularly in the time of COVID-19 with all of this homeschooling. We'll talk more about that. And then, of course, community partners. These are groups that may or may not be 501c3, and their main focus may or may not be for sickle cell, but sickle cell is a part of what they do. For example, we frequently partner with National Marrow Donor Program, also known as Be the Match. Be the Match is not a sickle cell specific organization, but offers quite a bit towards sickle cell. Collectively, all of our partners form the General Assembly of Patients, Caregivers, and CBOs. And so I am going to invite up now Dominique Friend, who is the president of the General Assembly, to tell us more about the General Assembly. Dominique.
Okay. Hello, guys. I'm Dominique Friend, sickle cell activist and author. I was thinking today, I've been working in the sickle cell community now for close to 15 years. And I started back in 2008, and I was looking at kind of just brainstorming of how things were back in 2008 compared to how things are now. And guys, I just want to commend us because we rock. We have done so much to raise awareness, so much we have done collectively to just change our community. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited about being the president of the General Assembly. So I want to share a little more information with you about what the General Assembly is and the responsibilities. Next slide for me. Okay, the purpose of the General Assembly is to serve as a bridge to give voice and action to sickle cell warriors. Our GA is formed by sickle cell warriors, caregivers, and CBOs. And here again, I was just talking about how we were able to accomplish so much working together. So collectively working together, we definitely can ensure that the needs and the goals of our community is met for sure. Next slide. Okay, the president of the General Assembly, what do I do? First of all, I'm elected by the General Assembly, you, sickle cell warriors, caregivers, and the CBOs. I work closely with the board as a liaison between the board and the General Assembly. And one of my main job, or my main focus of the president of the GA, is to work closely with the infrastructure committees and with our newly formed executive committee. Next slide. Okay. One of the main purpose of the General Assembly, guys, is to maintain the infrastructure of the consortium. When I say maintain the infrastructure of the consortium, we do that by participating on the 10 infrastructure committees that we have. Next slide. So you see here, this is the infrastructure of how the consortium is made up. At the bottom of the screen, it is the 10 infrastructure committees. And I just want to reiterate something that Dr. Bailey said earlier, where every partner of the consortium is required, guys, hear me, is required to participate on one of the 10 infrastructure committees. So I'm encouraging you that if you have a committee that you would like to work on, please email me and let me know. For the new partners that I did not hear back from, just to let you know, you will be hearing from me in the next week or two of what committee you was assigned to. So if you decide that you don't want to work on that particular committee, please let me know. And you can find out a lot more about the committee and the purpose of these committees from the Sickle Cell Consortium website, okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dominique. So guys, I forgot to tell you when I first came on that I am going to be your MC for this entire state of the consortium. So I want to talk about the power of the patient's voice. Listen, we are mighty when we're together. Now, the patient and caregiver voice is at the center of everything we do. It's not one person. It's not just me. It's not Dr. Bailey. It's us collectively that makes things work. When we are doing projects for the consortium or for your own organizations, imagine how much work, well, you don't even have to imagine. Look at all of the work that we've been able to do collectively as partners. We co-brand things. We talk about it. We brainstorm things. And that's what the assembly is about. That's what the whole summit is about. It's about collectively doing things to make a difference and moving the needle when it needs to be moved for the community, for our community. And so if you can go to my next slide. These are some and only some of the things that we have as outcomes. Some of the things like Warrior University, SC3 kids. SC3 kids are amazing. This is about our kids learning how to be advocates at a young age so that when they do get older, they know how to speak up for themselves and advocate for themselves properly. Next slide, please. And I love this slide because it shows that it's not just one person, like I said before. We are united and we make things move and we make a difference in the sickle cell community when we come together and work together. Next slide, please. I am going to talk about Dr. Bailey, would you like to talk about this one?
Yes, so collectively, we're able to, even though we are still a very young organization, collectively, we're able to accomplish quite a bit because we work together. Here are some of the partners, those that were partnered in 2020, and of course, there are those that are joining us now for 2021. But by working collectively, through the power of the patient voice, we're able to accomplish quite a bit. And it is what has made it so that we can accomplished we've been able to do a lot of things, and a lot of what we're going to discuss today has to do with that sort of collectiveness. Of the consortium, of the things that we accomplish and the things that get done, there are two major events. So we've talked a little bit about the way that we're organized, and this is for the public facing group, everyone that is interested in knowing. We've talked a bit about our history, how we're organized. We are organized into a General Assembly. It is that General Assembly that then does the work of the consortium. Dominique mentioned some things for existing partners, but of course, we're going to talk more about what are the requirements for being a partner. And collectively, we hold an annual leadership summit. So all of these partners that come together to form the General Assembly, we meet once a year for the annual leadership summit and General Assembly of patients, caregivers, and CBOs. Typically, it is held every month in March in Atlanta, Georgia. Although 2020 and again of 2021, these are going to be digital meetings held later in the year. This meeting is meant to be attended by consortium partners, and we accomplish 4 specific things. 1, CBCO and advocacy training and best practices. We have the General Assembly, which is where priorities are defined, and so we find the priorities. Patients, caregivers have an opportunity to discuss what are the priorities, what are the things that we'd like to see changed, and those become the initiatives for our collective group. We host the business meeting and we offer partner services. This summit over the years has grown. Our very first summit in 2016 with 70 advocates representing 19 CBOs has grown over the year to our most recent one with over 300 advocates representing 46 CBOs from 30 states, 31 states, and many, many countries. We also hold an annual Warriors Convention. We will tell you more about the details of the 2020 momentarily, but the general meeting is the annual gathering of patients, caregivers, community partners. We've been doing this since 2013. That year, it was a much smaller meeting where we took a group of patients and caregivers, and we went on a cruise to Nassau, Bahamas. After that, it became a land-based sort of multi-track. It grew over the years with more and more people joining until our most recent one in 2020 with over 500 people joining us in many, many states, multiple countries. Everything we do at the convention, all topics, work groups, panels, everything is created by the sickle cell community. It's executed by the community. It's designed by the community for our patient and caregiver community. Those are the 2 main meetings that are done as part of the overall infrastructure of the consortium. That has grown from patient gathering, where we went on a cruise that first year, the group that you see here, to a Warriors Convention, where in 2019, there were 300, we grew to 500 in 2020, multiple tracks. And of course, this was 2019, but we will share the details of 2020. Specifically, what I loved about this was a quote I walked by in 2019. We were in Texas, and there was a young warrior drawing a little cartoon, which she captioned, "I love being part of this world where sickle cell is normal." And that is the 2 main events that are held by the Sickle Cell Consortium. Next, I'm going to bring back Sharonda, and Sharonda is presenting along with me and the rest of the team, not necessarily as MC, but as she is the director of operations. So she is coming in and sharing as essentially the number 2 with the organization. Sharonda is fantastic. Those of you that know her, you know she's amazing. She keeps this organization running, and we are so very blessed to have her. Sharonda?
I was like, Dr. Bailey, don't do me like that. I get emotional very quick. It's a blessing for me to even be here. Thank you, Dr. Bailey, for talking about the way we work for the General Assembly. I chose this picture here, you guys, because, oh my goodness, everybody knows in January, we were ready to get running and really do some damage and work our organizations. And then by the time March came, we were on phones, on Zooms, and you see what I'm showing here. Listen, 2020 was crazy, like absolute crazy. No one could have predicted that. And the thing that I wanted to show you guys is, although it was crazy, we still stood together. We had amazing events coming through online. We adjusted to what was happening in our environment, and we did it well. So I want to say hats off to every one of the organizations, to our team, and to anyone that did not allow COVID to take away their voice. So now I'm going to get into what did we do in COVID? As we adjusted to everything that was happening, what exactly did we do to make sure that we met the needs of our community? Dr. Bailey, if you can just start that report for us.
There we are. Absolutely. So as Sharonda said, you all know, we actually, the partners of the consortium, held an emergency meeting in February, because long before we knew COVID was going to be a major issue, we recognized that influenza had become a major issue, and that we knew our partners on the West Coast were growing increasingly concerned with reports for COVID. And so we held an emergency meeting and decided that our leadership summit would be postponed. And then, of course, COVID hit. We were ahead of the game, y'all. And then COVID hit, and it was great that we had postponed and we went digital. The year changed. The consortium is designed and created to grow with our community, to respond to the needs of patients and caregivers. And so that is exactly what we did. And much of 2020 then became a matter of responding to the biggest need our patients and caregivers, our community was facing, COVID-19. And so we held a very extensive series of assessments, meetings, met with partners, met with patients, met with caregivers, met with expert educators, principals, college administrators, mental health experts, anyone that we could think of, and our community, multiple meetings with the community to define what are the needs that the sickle cell community needs and how can we address them. We recognized that a lot of things we had planned were no longer the major concerns, and we had to adjust with it. And so 2020 consortium looked very differently. 4 major things were identified. SCD health information, virus management, access to care, that bit. We needed to provide educational resources and support, mental health resources and support, and then of course, financial support and social services. And so after all of those meetings and assessments, we got to work. We worked with our partners. We had multiple partner meetings. I think for a while there, we were meeting monthly with our CBO partners and independent patient caregiver partners to figure out, what do you need and how can we help? And our partners were working to address the needs of their community. And the website then was birthed out of that, sicklecellconsortium.org/COVID-19. And from there, you were able to access a lot of different information, important health recommendations regarding COVID-19. Kept this updated from CDC, SCDAA, the blood transfusion centers, anything that needed to be done, information that we could provide. Dr. Brie and Miriam came and she spoke with us about COVID-19 and answered all of our questions, and all of that is available on the YouTube. That education, as well as many others. It was more than just teaching about COVID, but it was about learning to live with a chronic illness in a COVID-19 world. And so we provided everything from signs that could be printed from your door to official doffing protocol. Doffing is the correct way when you go out of your house and you have to come back in. There's a correct way to take off that mask, to get rid of those clothes, and to make sure you haven't brought anything home. From training and official doffing protocols to a toolkit COVID-19 toolkit and other information and data that was made available. Masks for Warriors, where we sent out. We worked with Miss Maria and other seamstresses to create and to make masks, and those got sent out to partners in bulk. Partners that requested them were sent masks in bulk to then give out to their community. Education support was a major issue. Partnered with Lisa Rose, partnered with Cleverly Changing, worked with quite a few people in the community to define the best ways to continue education. So here's the thing. What we realized was, as soon as COVID-19 started, teachers were no longer grading a child's ability, their ability to learn, their knowledge. At that point, you were grading anyone that was still giving out grades when this got started was grading privilege. You were grading that child's access to someone that could sit down and teach them, access to a tablet, access to internet. They were grading privilege, and we needed to equal out this table. Our warriors, we already live with the stress of going in the hospital, falling behind. Siblings are also heavily affected. How can we equalize this? So we provided helpful resources. The team with Lisa and that whole team, Yolanda, everyone, they worked very hard to compile helpful resources. We got subscriptions to things like Brain Pop and Canva to provide education for our warriors. That board of educators and long-term homeschoolers was created. This board we are actually reactivating now because it's continuing, and many of our warriors we're needing to. Had a long conversation, and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation with one of our partners, Kimberly Davis. Not Kimberly Davis. I'm sorry, it wasn't Kim.
It was Kimberly Thomas.
Kimberly Thomas. Kimberly Thomas. Sorry, I gave you a different last name. Kimberly Thomas, who is with Bold Plus, president of Bold Plus, about our children getting left behind this new education series, and that the way education is working, and we cannot let this happen. And so we also gave out tablets and Chromebooks. I don't know that is something that was ever really that a lot of people know. But when parents reached out to us that they needed tablets, they needed Chromebooks. There were schools that were sending home like one Chromebook to be shared with 4 kids, and it just wasn't working. So address this need. We also needed to address the needs of mental health support during COVID-19. This was a major one that was identified. And so we held formal webinars with mental health experts and providers, held small group chats and moderated discussions. We partnered with Be the Match to offer one-on-one counseling support for warriors. We created a mental health social media toolkit. There was all of these wonderful educational sessions on depression and the caregiver experience and anxiety and how to manage all of this through COVID-19. The free counseling with our partner NMDP. NMDP has also announced quite a few new partnerships with us that we're super excited about, including once we're in person again, we'll be providing testing. When you come to our convention next year and you bring your family, everybody can get tested to see who's a match and if anybody is your bone marrow transplant match. I think that's going to be fantastic. Mental health, we partner with them for mental health. May was Mental Health Month, provided resources for that, a toolkit. And we were able to do all of this because of an identified need from our community. Resources and social services was also the major need. And so online, there's a list of local and national resources. We provided emergency food supply funds. We sent people checks and emergency PayPal up to $200 per family, $250 per family. And that went out multiple times to lots and lots of families because people weren't working. There was a lot going on. We created a partner map, partners, resources by state. And then for our partners, we sent out a letter. The Medical Research Advisory Board created a letter for purchasing support. Some of our partners are having difficulty bulk purchasing. So our doctors and research scientists, we had them create purchasing support, and this is a medical necessity. So we had developed collective platforms for all kinds of support, the masks for warriors, the Chromebooks, the financial support, additional resources were created, all of these social services. And then there were just things like a readathon. People wanted something to do. And so we created a lot of very cool things to do, including a readathon was one, and then one that we'll tell you about in a moment. The Novartis, we want to say a big thank you to Novartis because they were the ones and a host of private donors to help. All of that, what we did came out of our internal budget, but Novartis was very generous and donated and gave us a grant to help cover the cost of a lot of these things and a lot of private support. So we're very, very grateful for that. And we are continuing to raise funds for COVID relief. You will hear more about the COVID, we talked about it, and the COVID response team that has now been created to continue to identify major needs and the things that they are doing and how we're continuing to help. And so we are sharing the relief fund, and we'll be sharing it so that we can bring in the funds that we need to continue to support our community. Now, one of the things, the mental health initiative and our mental health experts told us that they advised that one of the things that was happening was our young adults were missing graduation. And so in response to that need, we held a virtual graduation for the class of 2020. And so I would like to bring up Shelfina, virtually bring Shelfina to join us. Shelfina Wilkins is our partner communications liaison, and she helped manage this project. Shelfina.
Hello, everyone. As Lakia said, Dr. Bailey said, I'm Shelfina Wilkins. I am the communication liaison for the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. We had the most wonderful graduation online. The graduation is an enormous milestone for sickle cell warriors. The Sickle Cell Consortium desires to ensure warriors and caregivers experience an opportunity to celebrate such a tremendous accomplishment. We commend the class of 2020 because despite sickness, crisis, and setbacks, you did it. When you say it like that and you understand that when someone's in the hospital trying to next slide, please. When someone's in the hospital trying to do schoolwork and they can't at that moment finish it, but they still push through. That's amazing. Here's our kindergarten class. Our speaker was Dr. Wanda Sherney. Somebody say something? Okay.
No, continue.
Okay. Dr. Wanda Sherney, she had the kindergartners. She also had, next slide, please. She also had the class, the 5th, 6th, and 8th graders. She was the speaker for them. In those classes, we had some outstanding children who persevered. Even some of them spoke directly, like the valedictorian for their class. You know how they had the one with the highest GPA. They all did very well. And some of them were majorly sick in the hospital and they still completed their grades. Next slide, please. For our seniors, the ones, and you know how hard it is to get to their senior year, it's like you have burnout just from being in high school. Our lovely speaker was the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America President Beverly Francis Gibson. And in that group, from our seniors, we had some that were valedictorians, that were salutatorians, that had, extremely high GPAs. Some of them had scholarships, virtually, of course, to many prestigious colleges that were coming up. Next slide, please. For the college and beyond, our speaker, and I say this because I was humbled, our speaker was Howard University President Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick. I was so nervous when he started speaking, but in this group of our college and beyond, we have people that had masters, that were doing their doctorate, that were getting their bachelor's degree, that were salutatorians, as you can see by some of the pictures with their ropes and things of that nature. We have an outstanding group of people not just the ones in college and beyond, but all of them. We invited each group to the next graduation, and it inspired them to continue their education. If you see someone who has what you have and they're going through what you've gone through and they persevere, it inspires the younger ones. And I thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much for that, Shafina. Yeah, the graduation was pretty awesome. I was super excited to be a part of it. And when I sat there and we were playing the music at the end, and all of them were just so excited and smiling because they did not get a chance to walk across the stage. So I am so thankful that Dr. Bailey came up and the team came up with a virtual graduation so that they could experience some accolades, because they did a great job. So now I am back here to talk about the 5th Annual Leadership Summit. Woohoo! We said it time and time again. COVID came in and we just adjusted ourselves to make sure that the information still got to our partners and anyone else that was able to join us during the summit. Now, I am proud of this. So I am just going to say big shout out, because this was our first ever digital summit in the sickle cell patient community. And we used the platform Hoover, but it was our first time doing it. Like, we were changing the game. We did not know, how great it was going to be until people start coming on and registering for the summit. And y'all, it was amazing. Every time we have a summit or a convention, it's like we get together and it's like a what is it? I can't even think about it. A family reunion. But usually the summit is more about us teaching and training our advocates and our leaders in the community. So this year was so amazing. We had digital booths. We managed to do that. We had a community engagement with our very own Dominique Harvey, not Goodson those days. She came in every morning and pumped everyone up for the summit. And then we had a lot of interaction with our sponsors. We had you can go ahead into the next slide. Thank you so much. The community engagement was on and popping. It was so amazing. Then we had our meetups. You guys were meeting up and having conversations in our discussion boards. Next slide, please. Hoover was really an app that really allowed us to communicate and connect with each other. So the summit for me was a big hit. And I love to say this part, we broke records, not just for us, but for even Hoover. Hoover sent us a message and said, wow, you guys did amazing. This at the beginning where it says registered attendees 274. Oh, no. I looked that up today. It is 320 that attended the summit. And y'all, usually it's between 75 to 100 if you've ever been to the summit before, but this time we were able to allow more people to come and be a part of it, because usually, if you're sick and you're not able to travel, you can't be a part. So I have an inkling that even going on after we get back into in person, we're probably going to do a hybrid of the summit in person and digitally, because I think it really, really worked well. Next slide, please. Some of the sessions that were discussed at the summit, as you know, was embrace sickle cell travel, growing your advocacy resume, race, class, and healthcare in America. And I love this part, which is the SC3 kids in the Sunshine Basket. We don't leave the children out. And that's, I think, is one of the special things about the consortium and us as a collective whole, is that we don't leave our kids out. Next slide, please. Oh, and there we go. We see the kids on the side. And these are just some of our projects that we're doing, like mental health. We are always working to make sure that mental health is a part of the conversations. Warren University is really blowing up. It's amazing. It's a great place for you to get your education. And then we have our prom king and queen, who actually launched their platforms at the summit. Yes, the 2019 prom king and queen, Miss what is her name? It's right here. Princess Walls, which is our prom queen, and then Demetrius Wyant, which is our prom king. His platform was Save the Male Trunks, Priapism, and her platform is Health Literacy for Children. And she also has a book, so make sure you go and support her. Next, we are going to talk about the 7th Annual Warriors Convention. And I'm going to bring none other than Dr. Bailey back to talk about that.
All righty. Well, a couple things. We are going to be offering a much more extensive presentation on the 7th Annual Warriors Convention. Shamanica Wiggins will be providing information. There's been a lot of people that want how we did it, want to know the bits and pieces of how it was put together. And so we will be offering and providing that information separately. For this, for today, I just going to share a little bit about how this was organized and why it was different. So by the time this came around in 2020, we knew that people were zoomed out. The community, people in general, had been living in Zoom. It was COVID-19, 2020, sponsored by Zoom. It should have been. It was the Zoom. Everybody was in these meetings, and what we did not want to do was to have yet another meeting, to have everyone come in and to sit and listen, and you may or may not be able to get a couple of questions in before the next talk. So we decided to flip it completely around. And instead of listening to the physicians and the scientists and everyone, the industry, talk about the different things, we recognize that it is the patient and caregiver that is the expert in this space. No one knows better what it is to live with sickle cell or to raise someone with sickle cell, love someone with sickle cell better than those doing it. And so this year, the patients and caregivers were the experts. Put them up behind the virtual podium to present the information. And instead, we held a series of community conversations. We created and we made it all up exactly how we would do this piece by piece. We created a new model for digital community engagement. And after this meeting was over, we heard from many people, including industry, that said that they think that this was probably the look moving forward. And one told us they were actually changing their policies on how they can support based on how this meeting looked. And it was a new way in which to engage with our community. We held a series of community conversations. There were 7 main conversations. They were the curative conversation. They were the curative conversation, what is a cure, all the way through to sickle cell science beyond the red blood cell, the complementary and alternative methods discussion, the emergency department discussion, disease complications, mental health, and of course, the caregiver discussion. We held major conversations in which the patients and caregivers were the discussion leaders and moderators. And we brought in content experts with the understanding that you are coming in to ensure that the content that we provide remains medically accurate. But they were told that the main discussion is meant to be held by patients and caregivers, that it is our community, that we are the experts in this space. And so this time we're going to teach and learn from each other. All of the information, all of the sessions, I think there are well over 50 sessions, and a lot of the content that you would get at a standard convention, we still had all of that, but it was pre-recorded and up in the sickle cell classroom. In the sickle cell classroom, you can actually, that was made available before the convention so that you could go in and listen to all of these different topics. There were, like I said, well over 50 that are in that classroom, sessions to go and learn all about the detailed science, all about the detailed information that you might normally get, the research and the science and the medical education. But you could go and watch it at your own pace and devise your questions, come up with your questions, and then come join the conversation, prepared to ask your questions and to talk with and learn from each other. The classroom is still available. You can go to sicklecellconvention.org And once you go to Sickle Cell Convention, not Consortium, Consortium is our main page. The convention website is where we always host the convention, sicklecellconvention.org, and then click any of the sessions for the sickle cell classroom, and it'll open up into the main classroom where you can learn and review and read and go ahead and rewatch most all of those sessions. And we are also going to be adding to them and bringing a lot of the information and the discussions. We'll be editing and continuing to bring the discussions that were had, so those that are interested can go back and hear that as well. So in that way, we changed the way that it looked. We changed and we flipped around the convention, created this new model where all of the educational sessions are in the classroom, and instead we had conversations with patients and caregivers, learning, teaching, and learning from each other. What stayed the same were the many tracks that we often have. There is, of course, the general track, but then the trait track. We're excited to have partnered with As One Foundation for trait-specific education. The young adult track, the young adults did so many different things and lots of education geared specifically to them, financial literacy, managing your schedule, and all kinds of wonderful information like that. The children's track, and the children's track led by Lisa Rose and Vanessa Rhodes. And that information was ran concurrently each day with the rest of the sessions. And the children, Lisa Rose and Vanessa, do such a phenomenal job. And there were well over 100 children that joined us this year for the purpose of learning. And Lisa mentioned that one person was actually in the hospital getting her bone marrow transplant while participating in the children's track. And then there was the men's track, education specifically geared for our men. Now, all of these individuals received a registration kit. They're those that registered by a certain deadline. And in that registration kit, I don't think that slide made it here, but they received all kinds of information to supplement this meeting to, and we sent out for our young adults that took the financial literacy class, they actually got the book on financial literacy and education. And we sent out journals, and we sent out so much wonderful information, as well as the standard registration kit that one would normally receive. There were also a number of special events. We're very excited to have partnered with GBT to present the Pass the Mic. There was the makeup and advocacy, that was fantastic. The cooking sessions, gaming with sickle cell. The gamers were able to play. We hosted video games. They played 2 different video games while they talked. And in one of those sessions, it became a discussion of the young warriors and the older warriors mentoring, older warriors mentoring young warriors. And it was male warriors that were in that session just mentoring each other while they played Fortnite, I think. And so Warriors After Dark for men, Warriors After Dark women. We had the pajama jam for the women, exercising, the morning wellness with Carol's Promise, art and painting. Mia Robinson did a wonderful session with us, and we had other artists that have painting that's online available that you could follow along. And people had the canvas and followed along. We did a wonderful special sessions. And specifically what was incredibly exciting was Murder Mystery. And if you missed it, it was hilarious. We did an online virtual murder mystery with suspects, and you had to ask questions and interrogate. And the staff and the team did a fantastic job with that. We were also excited to welcome back Dr. Admiral Brett Gerard, and we were able to hear wonderful information from him, but also to thank him for all of the work that he did for the sickle cell community during the previous administration. And we thanked our healthcare heroes, those that supported us through this very difficult year of 2020. And patients and caregivers nominated healthcare heroes so that we could thank them for what they have done. And then, of course, thank you to all of our generous sponsors who made all of that possible. In sum, the convention, we changed it. We did a new thing in a new way. with over 500 attendees, multiple sponsors, lots of messages. It was all in all a huge, huge success. And so thank you for everyone that participated in that. And we're looking forward to sharing information for 2021. Next, I am excited to welcome our social media manager, Shamanica Wiggins, who will give a brief overview of our fifth year anniversary.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Bailey, for that introduction. As she said, I am Shamanica Wiggins. I am the social media manager for the Sickle Cell Community Consortium, and I am here to share with you all our fifth year anniversary and the celebration that we hosted online on Zoom. Next slide, please. So we were so excited to turn 5 in our 5 years of being an organization. We have accomplished so much and a lot of things, but during our celebration, we highlighted several things. And one of those is the Crisis film, which is being executively produced by the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. It's a movie that gives a real life look into sickle cell. It's not a documentary, it's actually a scripted movie. And we were able to have the cast and the director and the writer join us for a panel and also a screenwriting workshop. And we also had a bone marrow transplant panel, where we had patients who have received a bone marrow join us and talk about their experience and answer questions and share, what to expect if you choose to go that route. And we, of course, with all of our other events, we had games and giveaways. Dominique Harvey was a part of this as well with our sickle cell trivia and the many great gifts that we gave away for the games. Next slide, please. So for the Crisis film, as I said, this is a movie highlighting a relationship of a sickle cell warrior and a woman who is in a abusive relationship and is sharing how these two people found love in their difficult situations. For the panel, we were able to have the director join us and the writer and the lead actress and lead actor and the director of photography for the movie. And they led a very in-depth panel and they answered questions. And we also were able to see the trailer for the movie. And if you want to have more information about the movie or see the trailer, you can visit crisisfilm.com to see the trailer. But we did preview it during this panel. And we were also fortunate enough to have Egypt join us for a screenwriting workshop, because as you all know, there are so many talented warriors in the community who have many interests. And one of the interests is writing movies and making documentaries. And he led a screenwriting workshop for us to participate in, which was very informative. Next slide, please. And the second half of our celebration, we had our bone marrow transplant panel. Like I said, we were joined by patients who have successfully had a bone marrow transplant. We had a mother and son join us to share the patient point of view as well as the caregiver point of view. And we also premiered our We Are the Cure campaign, which is what we did in partnership with Be the Match to get more Black donors on the donor registry, because unfortunately, African Americans make up the smallest population of donors. And it's very important that we get more of us on the donor registry so more of us can get cured. For those who wants to get cured and want to go that route, we need more donors. And we also announced our awardees of our We Are the Cure grant contest and shared the organizations and partners that won that grant contest, and they were able to get funded and recruit people on their own platforms to join the donor registry. And again, just in case for those who missed it, we shared our Crisis film trailer again. And again, everyone really loved it. I can't wait to see the full movie. But over our 5 years, like I said, we have accomplished a lot. As Dr. Bailey shared earlier in this presentation, the consortium first became a thought, an idea, or a thing at an FDA meeting in 2014. And in 2015, we finally got our 501c3 certification and became a nonprofit. And we hosted our very first leadership summit in 2016. I'm fortunate enough to have been at the very first summit, and I've only missed one due to being sick. But over those 5 years, we've had the summit each year. We've also had the Warrior Convention each year. And typically that convention is in a different state that is picked by the sickle cell community, because as always, we like to keep our community involved in what we do and have a voice in what we do. And in 2017, we launched Warrior University. Dominique Goodson is the Dean of Warrior University, and that has been a very interactive and informative platform that we launched to educate the sickle cell community and the patients and caregivers about important topics that we experience as sickle cell warriors, such as AVN, strokes, and other complications that you might experience as a sickle cell warrior. We're proud that we have gained multiple PCORI grants and that we have partnerships with Be the Match, Novartis, GBT, and so many other pharma companies and government entities. It's not a lot that goes on in the sickle cell community that we're not involved in, because as you all know, we believe nothing for us without us. So we always make sure that we are present and that our voice is represented at the tables where it's most important. So that's about our 5-year anniversary. And thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you so much, Shamonica. That was great. Happy 5-year anniversary to the Sickle Cell Consortium. Yeah, I get excited about that because we might be young, but we are mighty and we have done some amazing things. Next up, we are going to talk about the STEP project with our very own Dean of Warrior, Dominique Goodson.
Hello, everyone. As Sharonda said, my name is Dominique Goodson. I am the Senior Project Manager, and I am also Dean of Warrior University. I'm so happy to be talking about these next 2 projects that I was lead project manager on. The first one is the STEP project, which was on blood transfusion. So this was a grant given to us by Novartis with a partnership with Georgia Health Policy Center. This grant was to help educate African Americans and Latin Americans about blood transfusion, going what was the importance of it, side effects to look, iron load, and all the knowledge that we gained, we turned into animated videos that would be good for not just young kids, but also adults and easy to understand. The 5 animated videos that we have are called What are blood transfusions, Understanding your blood, Transfusion reactions, testing, tracking, and knowing, and all about iron overload. These videos can be found on our YouTube page. If you go to www.youtube/Sickle Cell Consortium and look under blood transfusion, all 5 of these videos are on this or on the YouTube page. We also did a live action video with sickle cell warriors, caregivers, and their family members, explaining why they needed blood. For whatever reason, if it was to walk their kids down the aisle, if it was to start a bakery company, they were explaining why it was important for African Americans to donate blood and why they needed blood. That video is also on our YouTube page as well. It is called Why Diversify the Blood Supply. It's a very strong and powerful video because you hear from not just patients, but from caregivers and from family members of people with sickle cell. And some of them a little tearjerker, but please go to our YouTube page and check out Why Diversify the Blood Supply. Make sure you share with your friends, share on your social media pages, because it's very important that we get more African Americans and Latin Americans to donate blood, especially for the sickle cell community. Now, the next project is very dear to me also. This project was called We Are the Cure. This project was in partnership with Be the Match. It was a grant from the National Marrow Donor Program. And this was to get Black individuals between the ages of 18 and 44 to sign up and join the bone marrow registry. A lot of people don't know the statistics about the registry for bone marrow transplant, but currently Blacks only represent 4% of the National Donor Registry, offering only a 23% chance of identifying a match blood stem donor. So it's very important that we know these statistics so we get other people, family, friends, any of our African American friends and family to join the registry to help save a life, because it's nothing like knowing you helped save someone's life. And it's important because patients with sickle cell, even though for African Americans, 4%, for patients with sickle cell, it's less than 4%. So it's very important that we get more African Americans and Latin Americans on the bone marrow registry. We also took this opportunity with the We Are the Cure project to do a training opportunity that we will talk about later. We're very proud of this training opportunity for our partners. They did absolutely amazing, especially in the confines with COVID and everything that we did. They did absolutely amazing, making sure we got more African Americans to join the registry for bone marrow. Please, it is still not too late. Please get friends, families to join the registry if you can. I got my brother to do it. It was very funny. We still talk about that to this day. So please make sure, because we need more African Americans to be a part of the bone marrow registry. And if not us, then who?
Thank you so much, Dominique, for that. Wow, those two projects have been a really successful, and they are on our YouTube page. I am going to place the YouTube link on in our chat as well as on Facebook, so you can go and look at those later on when you get some time. Now we are going to be talking about our SC3 publications, and for that I'm going to bring up our Miss Maria Rivera.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Rivera, and I am one of the employees for the or staff for the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. I am one of the special project coordinators, and today we're going to be talking about for at least 5 of the publications that we worked on during the 2020 year. The first one will be called Define Yourself. This project was created in 2019, but it continued through the 2020 year. And the purpose of this project was to guide the people living with sickle cell, how can I say, review the medical history and be more accurate about their condition and stuff like that. They wanted to learn on what it means to have sickle cell and all the complications that sickle cell has, prevention, treatment options, and how to improve the life of the sickle cell disease patient. Next slide, please. Another publication is called Sickle Cell in School Policy. This was prepared by the Parent to Parent initiative of the Sickle Cell Consortium. This booklet was created also. The purpose of creating this booklet was to teach people their role as the family's role in school, the school's role, the hospital's role, and all the complications that one might have during sickle cell disease life. And also to create an individualized education program for each and every one of them. Next, please. In the back of this book, you will find during the school publication, some of the things that call for an alert as a sickle cell patient. And so the teachers and whoever is taking care of our kids, so they can learn about complications like during school time or during swimming or special education classes and stuff like that. This page is meant to be torn and placed on the wall of the teachers, coaches, and nurses' office. Next, please. The next one will be Sickle Cell in School. This is our COVID edition, and is created because parents had questions, um, because they were very concerned about the kids when they were starting school, and they wanted to make sure that they were asking the right questions during the pandemic. Like some of them, for instance, will be the IEP or 504 plan. Um, and they wanted to know what resources for at home they had for learning, and any other additional resources available for their children and family members. Um, okay. Another one is the blood and marrow transplant, which is BMT for sickle cell disease. This handbook was developed to answer some of the questions that arise while you are interested on getting a bone marrow transplant. Um, Inside the booklet, you can find the history, what's in there for my child, the benefits and the risk, the basics for BMTs, how to find a donor, transplant timeline, if you qualify or not, the donor, is it safe to be a donor? Note that there's many other questions that you can always ask and you might be interested, so you can find everything in there. Next, please. And I believe the next one will be Save the Male Trunks. This project was geared and created by one of our males in the community. He is one of our warriors. His name is Demetrius Wyant, and he created this project in 2019, and he's been going through since then. And he chose this platform to give out the young warriors in our community a voice, so they can learn that they have a voice and speak for themselves if in case that any complications arrive. Next, please.
Thank you so much, Miss Maria.
Thank you.
And so just one clarification, the latter three were all done in 2020. However, that first one was an example of our very first publication, which was done several years, not several, but a few years back. Thank you, Ms. Maria, for sharing that. 2020 was a good year for getting out the brochures and the publications. Sharonda?
Thank you, Dr. Bailey and Miss Maria. Yes, and I also want to make sure that everyone knows that the first publication, which was the Guide to Living, is also in Spanish. So I just want to make sure we made note of that. So now we're going to talk about partner-facing grants. Next slide.
Certainly. And so for the partner-facing grants, we will, I'm sorry, was she able to join?
I can do it for her.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Maria.
Okay, now we're going to be talking about the partner-facing grants. Next slide, please. The partner-facing grants, it was a request for proposals training opportunity. It was offered as part of the We Are the Cure initiative, and we have some of the awards as follow. 1212 Foundation as One Foundation, Cayenne Wellness Center, and Cleverly Changing podcast. For the Christmas support grants, it was offered to partner organizations supporting warriors and families during the Christmas 2020. And you can check for yourself and see who are the foundations that participated. Lockhart Morgan Foundation, Dreamsicle Kids Foundation, and Families for Supporters of Sickle Cell Disease. Next slide, please.
Okay. And ASAP Foundation.
ASAP, yes.
So everyone, thank you so much, Ms. Maria. There's a lot, as you can see, and we are going to speed up and run through the 2020, but 2021. Before we get to that, the consortium by working collectively and as a group that we partner with each other, with other organizations. The consortium actually incentivizes collaboration and mandates it in order for our larger projects and initiatives to go forward. We're able to do quite a bit. And even though 2020 was a difficult year, as you can see with those that we have selected to present, there was still quite a bit that was done. And it was done in collaboration with multiple partners. It was done with a hard work of this amazing team, with sponsorships and grants to get quite a bit done. There's also a number of outward facing activities that we are a part of. Some of them are listed here. And this is some of the things that we are able to connect with and be part of outside of our internal projects, platforms, and initiatives. And this is everything from our involvement with CureSCI, NHLBI's CureSCI initiative, through to the National Hemophilia Foundation and different work that we're doing with multiple group, HHS and GBT and other industries. And so we're able to collectively work together internally as well as outward facing activities. And this is just a sample of some of the things that we did just in 2020. And it does not include, of course, all of the work that we have so many partners who have participated in a number of different things, a number of different initiatives. And we've been able to promote partners and recommend large lists of partners to lots of different groups and initiatives to be part of outward facing initiatives as well. And that is basically where we have been with an overview of 2020. We actually abbreviated it, believe it or not, but we realized this was getting quite long. And so we wanted to share with you all a lot of what happened in 2020 and a lot of the information that resulted from it, the publications that are now available. You can order them. We can have them sent to doctors' offices in bulk and clinics in bulk and CBOs in bulk. And we'll also send them to advocates and those of you that need it in smaller amounts to give out to friends, family, or things that you participate in. There was a lot of outcomes in 2020, despite it being such a crazy, crazy year. And we're looking forward to all of the amazing things coming in 2021. So the next couple of slides is a look ahead. And as Sharonda has mentioned, we are a collective. And so our whole thing is about working together because we are stronger as a collective and we can accomplish so much in that way. The first being the community, the COVID response team. Sorry, I have moved forward. COVID-19 response team, and this initiative is for 2021. We did not, as a sickle cell community, collectively hallucinate a pandemic. The reality is the world didn't collectively hallucinate. America, we are all still actively in a situation where patients and caregivers, those of us living with sickle cell, we must remain vigilant. And so moving into 2021, the community COVID-19 response team, CRT, that was founded at the inside of 2020, is moving into 2021 to continue to identify and address what we can do to grow and to respond to the needs of our community. This newly formed community operates under the leadership of Notoria Jones, along with several others, to continue to identify, interact and engage directly with the sickle cell community to identify COVID-19 related problems and concerns, and then develop recommendations on how to address this need. The CRT connects with the community through surveys, community dockets, regular open calls. The CRT team meets every 2 weeks, and we invite other partners to join to help us identify and continue to identify COVID-19 needs. I know one of the things that they have decided that in addition to supporting food and groceries, emergency support, the need was brought up and prioritized, and they are now going to be offering support for emergency utility support for families as part of the Sickle Cell Consortium's COVID-19 response. We will also be continuing with the education and supporting education, mental health, and anything that this community recognizes. COVID-19 is there to identify and then respond to our need. This COVID-19 response team is there to do that.
And then we have our main SC3 events. So our 6th annual Digital Leadership Summit that's going to be happening May 2021. And during this one, we're going to have the General Assembly priorities. This year, the summit will be digital again, but we'll go back to focusing on our priorities like we did in years before. So we're still going to be digital, but we're just going to make sure that the priorities will be taken care of this year. And then we'll have the 8th annual Patient Family Caregiver Educational Symposium, the Warriors Convention. We are looking at attentively August 2021. And so that we will actually continue on with a 2nd annual virtual graduation, because again, COVID is still here and we want to make sure that our graduates get the recognition that they do deserve. And we're just going to add that to something we're going to do from here on out. And then the last thing I just wanted to bring up is a Nothing for Us Without Us. All of our conferences are designed, planned, and executed by the sickle cell community. Next slide.
Warrior University is an online curriculum. We are continuing. It's an online curriculum-based educational platform. I believe that many of you have been part of those classes. Some classes have had as few as 12 to 15, and other classes have had as many as 100 and more. We almost logged out of a class once because the platform only allowed up to 200 people. So the classes vary in popularity and who would be interested. We're bringing all of these back. We're bringing, and Warrior University, under the leadership of Dominique Goodson, the administrator for Warrior U, will be bringing in a lot of amazing sessions, including disease education, but we're bringing that back, but we're also doing the unpacking of sickle cell science, curative therapies, and a number of other sessions are all coming to Warrior University in 2021.
And speaking of the citizen scientists unpacking the science of sickle cell, this is its own initiative, and we are actually going to be we're starting this initiative, and it's going to be a conferences, podcasts, and Warrior U series that's going to be a part of this, and it's going to have patient-powered, enduring materials as well as the patient power podcast. So this is a new initiative that we're going to be doing, and we're excited about this one.
We are super excited to have already partnered with Cheat Codes, sponsored by, and we have sponsorship from Agio, so Dr. Z and Cheat Codes. Part of this is going to begin with having a group of physicians talk about the most recent scientific meetings. Our first one is coming up for the ASH meeting that was in December. What did they talk about? Have you ever wondered, what did I miss? Why is this important? Well, now we're going to be addressing this in a patient-friendly manner so that we can understand this is the science of sickle cell. Hey, here's what they talked about at FSCDR. Here's what they talked about at EHA. Here's what they talked about at ASH. And this is why it mattered. ASH had some fantastic research that came out in December, and we should know these things. And so we're excited to be partnering with Dr. Z and Dr. Callahan for Cheat Codes as we launch the very first part of this, and then adding and building it as we go. And we're grateful to RFGO's Pharmaceuticals for providing funding and support for that. Charisma is another one. And after this is all over, we are going to attempt to show you all a commercial for that. And those of you that want to hang on, we'll show you the trailer for the film Shamanika mentioned as well. We're really, really excited about both of these projects. Charisma is cognitive behavioral therapy and real-time pain management intervention for sickle cell disease via mobile devices, mobile applications. This is a brand new thing that we're excited to be working with Charles Jonasson with funding from PCORI. and partnering with consortium partners to bring out and to present a brand new technology platform for dealing with our pain and what this looks like. And here are one of the things that we did. Actually, it was a PCORI grant that we did back in, I want to say 2016 or 2017. Actually, yeah, it was 2017, maybe it was even 2018, but we did a PCORI grant where we wanted to know what is the research that matters to this sickle cell community. And what we found out was that you all overwhelmingly want other ways to manage pain outside of narcotics. You want to talk about other pain management techniques. And that was one of the top things that you all discussed, along with several other things. And we've been able to use that research to then help inform further research from that. This is one of the projects. It's an answer to alternative pain management technique. And we're excited to partner with our partners, with Charles Jonasson and UPenn and with PCORI, to do an amazing project. And we're hoping that you all will be very excited and want to be part of a new and emerging technology for, let's use our mobile devices, let's use the AI, let's use mentors, and let's figure out alternative pain management techniques. We are working with multiple of our partners, including our Sickle Cell Warriors, and there are a number of our other partners that we will be connecting with for this project. Sickle Cell 101 is also a part of this project, and collectively we are developing and creating a new technology that the sickle cell community will be creating and helping define. The hope is that charisma will lead to better pain care for people with sickle cell disease. And it is to identify treatments that do not rely on opioids and narcotics. And this study, participants will use your smartphone to interact with the mobile application, with the AI, and with mentors. And so the study is funded by PCORI in partnership with community and academic organizations. And it's incredibly exciting. The nerd in me is like, whoa, I want to be part of this. But the warrior in me is like, this is pretty cool. And in case anyone is wondering, partnering and being part of this, you will not have to not take narcotics. It's about finding alternative and other interventions that you can use. So if you've got a pain regimen that works for you, we get it. Believe me, we get it. But this is about identifying new ways as well. So anyone that's interested, any of the partnered organizations that you want to be part of this with us, please let us know, because we're excited to launch this one within the next month.
And now we are looking forward. So we are talking about health literacy for warriors. That is the project from our 2019 Warrior Prom Queen. She says it is important for children to learn the medical language so that they can understand their health. And I totally agree with that. And so this is with Ms. Princess Walls that we will be partnering with her to make sure that this happens. And then also we have Save the Male Trunks, a priapism project. And this is with our 2019 Prom King, is what I was talking about earlier. Well, Miss Maria was talking about earlier. He's already have a publication out, but we are going to make sure that this is a project that is going to go to all of the males in our community. Warrior University and Sickle Cell TV, I'm excited about this one because it is the creative in me. Dr. Bailey always talks about the nerd in her, but the creative in me gets really excited about things where we can showcase the talents, because we have so many in this community. Art, makeup, films, podcasts, cooking, like we are a collective body of people that are very talented, and this Sickle Cell TV is going to be one way that we're going to showcase that. Not only just do the arts, but we are going to have our recorded educational videos on that as well.
Okay. And last but certainly not least here is, sorry about that, there we go. last but certainly not least here, as we are looking forward into 2021, we want to remind you, and those of you that have been part of us and partnered with us before, and those of you that are looking forward to partner with us moving forward, that there are a number of existing priorities that have been voted over the years. Some of them, they have end dates. You do the project, you're done, it's wrapped up, here you go, here's the output. Others are ongoing, such as 1 year, one of the priorities was destigmatization and awareness of mental health needs among sickle cell. It was put on the docket. It was voted as one of the top 3 that year. And so every year since then, from that, the mental health initiative was born. And every year since then, we've had mental health sessions, mental health workshops, so forth and so on. So some projects are ongoing. And so the existing priorities will continue into 2021. Some of them are listed here. We're very excited for the project with Sickle Cell Anthology with Kadeen and the Unbreakable Warrior with Heather Avant, because now that, well, the world is still closed down. It should be anyway, more closed than it is in some areas, but we will be able to, we're looking forward to working with them to wrap that one up in those 2 up in 2021, and to get that amazing content out there to you all. And then there are the newly identified projects, the newly identified priorities. And these will be identified during the Leadership Summit, the Partner Leadership Summit and General Assembly. And so you will notice we've mentioned repeatedly partners. We are a collective of partners. And so we work with our partners to get a lot done. Patients, caregivers, community-based organizations, we went over all of that. And so anyone, you do not have to be partnered with the consortium to be part of a project. You do, however, have to be a partner to be a project manager over a project. And it didn't used to be that way, but various experiences made it so that I recognized the need of having partners in top level spaces, particularly people who are dealing with budgets. So you do have to be partnered with us to run a project, to be a project manager, to be a committee chair, to be one of our trained advocates that's then part of our speakers bureau, but you do not have to be a partner to help and to be part of a committee of any of the things that we're doing. Well, not the infrastructure committees, but the main project initiatives. And so I wanted to make that clarification that anyone can join us, but we do work from the top with our partners, and everything that we do, as was mentioned before, a partner, a patient care or caregiver has to be at the center running it, or a community-based organization. And you become the project manager, you become the boss, the patients and the caregivers. We then connect you with government, with industry, with other organizations. We find the budget and we get these projects up and running. And it's done with a patient or caregiver, CBO, sickle cell CBO at the center. We genuinely believe nothing for us without us. We genuinely believe that we are the experts in this room, that the patient is the most important voice in any room, and that we are meant to be at the table, that our seat at the table belongs to the patient and caregiver. And I recently, well, not recent, last time we were in person, which was in 2019, they were making comments about some tables patients shouldn't be at. I disagree. I think that we are the centralized voice of everything. Warriors, caregivers, we are all things all people are. We are everything, and somewhere in our community, there is an expert in that field, and that person should be at the table. But what I mentioned, and I think I may have rubbed a few people the wrong way, that if there are some tables that if we don't have a seat at the table, then we will lay out a blanket and have a picnic, and we will get it done on the floor. But patients and caregivers will get it done. And that is the point. And it is why we exist. And it is why we work the way that we do. If the door isn't opened for us, then we'll crack over a window and crawl through and get it done. I think that Biden's inauguration speech and Harris, their comments that they made, their whole theme was, let's get to work. And they went to work the first day. And that resonated. Anybody that's ever worked with me knows, let's get to work and let's get it done. And so we do work a lot with partners and credentialing. And so I am very, very excited now to bring Yolanda Lewis. I'm sorry, someone is saying something. Hold on one second. We're bringing in Yolanda Lewis to talk to us about partnership and credentialing. What does that mean? How do I become a partner? And to answer those questions.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey. Good evening, everyone. I am Yolanda Lewis, the chairperson of the Credentialing Committee, also a board member, executive administrator of the Sickle Cell Consortium. And next slide, please. I want to talk with you tonight about partnering or credentialing with the Sickle Cell Consortium. And so what that means is just the process of going to our website, completing the application, and then providing the supporting documentation as requested according to your partner type. And I'm also going to show an image later on about the different types of partnership, which Dr. Bailey addressed earlier on in this presentation, which are CBOs, community-based organizations, JCBOs, SPOs, and independents. So why would you want to, or why should you have to credential? And so the reason for that is it helps us to verify the authenticity of the partner in terms of CBO organizations, and as well to allow us to get to know you as an independent advocate. And the last one, who is able to credential or partner with us? And frankly, that is open to any individual or entity who's actively working in the sickle cell community, may it be advocacy, education, research, legislation, and or policy. Next slide, please. And again, here is just a visual of the partner types. We have the community-based organization, which has already obtained a 501c3 status. The junior community-based organization, they have not obtained the 501c3 status yet, but they're actively seeking it. We also have the sponsored patient organization, which is usually a connection between an individual, a hospital, or medical facility. We also have the independent patient caregiver advocates here. And the last group would be the medical and research advisors. Next slide, please. So as you can see, excuse me, on your screen, we have quite a few partner perks and benefits. And so if you tuned in earlier, or you can go back and listen again, you can hear about the Leadership Summit and some of the education that took place and training that took place there for our partners, which would include a lot of the CBO infrastructure training and support and advocacy training for independent patients. There's also the General Assembly project prioritization. And so again, you could just take a look at the screen here. And I just wanted to highlight the Warrior Convention, which is something that all warriors look forward to attending. And this is open to warriors and their families. Next slide, please. The beauty of one of the sessions for the Leadership Summit, which I had the privilege to attend, was the Creative Content Workshop and Lab. And you can see pictures here of our involvement as we prepare to do a mock commercial. And so this is some of the highlights of that, and doing headshots and things of that nature. Next, please. This section is going to be a little bit longer. It's shorter on your screen. So we have the partner requirements. And what we ask is that you credential on schedule. And what that means is for CBOs to fully complete the application, and provide the supporting documentation every 5 years. However, annually, we ask that you provide us with just copy of proof that you're in compliance with the IRS on your financial status, and infrastructure changes or location, anything of that nature. If that changes before the 5 years are up, we ask that you notify us that we may update your not your patient, your partner profile. Again, we look at the some of the documents that would be required or information required for CBOs. We ask for each category for CBOs, JCBOs, and SPOs to provide an abstract, which is just a short description of outlining the activity projects, the platforms, events, and or initiatives that you're working on which impact the sickle cell community. And so for the CBO, we also look for impact analysis. What area are you reaching? And then on social media for each group, it's not required, but it's just good to let us know. And then as we provide information to you, we know that we can get our reach, our stretch a little farther in terms of education, awareness, and community involvement. We also ask for CBOs that they provide, CBOs and JCBOs provide your future organizational plans. And so this is, we have as optional, but it's good to have on your partner profile so that you can come back within 5 years and compare to the accomplishments that you've made. And this would just be outlining your projects and events that you're planning for the current fiscal year. We do ask, however, for our junior community-based organizations, as I've mentioned, that they check in with us every 2 to 3 years. By this time, you should have obtained a 501c3 status. If you need help, reach out to us and let us know, and we will help you in that aspect. And so we ask that all partners provide their mission statement. And again, for the junior CBOs, we are looking for your intent, your plan, your independence plan on how you're going to work towards becoming a community-based organization. We also ask that you submit a sponsor or fiscal agent when you complete the application so that you're not surprised. So we go on next to the sponsored patient organization. And with this group, we're again looking for your mission statement, all those things, how many families that you're reaching or individuals that you're reaching in the community. And we also need a letter of sponsorship. And this is from a sponsor or fiscal agent, or it can be an existing CBO healthcare provider or facility or other organization that's already part of the Sickle Cell Consortium. And independent advocates, you don't have to do that much. I'm just kidding. We do ask that you provide us with a bio because you never know when opportunities will come up, a brief bio. When questions will come in, do you have anyone in our area or do you have anyone who could represent the consortium in this manner? And so if we have your brief bio already on file, we could send that on your behalf. We also ask that you provide an advocacy resume, and we also have a link for a video on YouTube that Shamonica Wiggins did for us in helping you develop your advocacy resume. And that's it for that slide, please. So partner responsibilities. As you can see on the screen, all partners participate in the annual leadership summit and general assembly of CBOs and advocates. All partners are asked to participate in developing and implementing solutions to problems identified during this meeting. And we also ask, in addition to helping us identify problems, is that you help us come up with solutions to then tackle that and then help us get the work done to make it happen. Partners are asked to participate in at least one main fundraising activity that is organized by the consortium each year. We also ask that you serve on at least one of the main 10 infrastructure committees. Or in addition to that, we have the code of conduct that we ask partners to sign. And the reason for that is it addresses and it shares the consortium's perspective and our clause on harassment and assault, on cyberbullying, on the general consortium guidelines, as well as photo, video, audio release by signing that form. So we also, the last thing that we ask of you is to, again, be active with the consortium. And we have monthly meetings, next slide, that where we update the partners. So it's awesome. All right. So after all that's been said, you want to be a part of this great organization? Well, all you have to do is visit our website at sicklecellconsortium.org/become-a-partner. And this will be put in the chat on YouTube. Select a partner type and also put in the chat on Facebook. Select a partner type, whether you're signing on as a CBO, a JCBO, SBO, or IPCA. I know that's a lot of acronyms. And then just complete the application and submit everything that's requested, and check your emails frequently to stay in connection with us. And if you're on Facebook, we'll add you to the Sickle Cell Consortium partner page so that you can stay up to date on upcoming meetings, events, and activities. And last but not least, I know this was a lot of information. If you go to our website, there is a partner frequently asked question page. And you can definitely drop in there and take a look if any of what I presented sounds overwhelming. Just take your time. I do want to mention that the deadline for completing the applications and partnering with us is February the 19th. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. And so it's paperwork, y'all. And there was some information here that there's for those of you that have asked, and there's been a number of you have asked, I accidentally flipped forward. I wasn't meaning to rush you here, Yolanda. The why do we do the credentialing? And what is it, and partnering with us, and I want to get a little bit more about those the perks and some of that. And the whole goal here is to verify basically that individuals that join us can be trusted, and anyone that is a partner with the consortium, they are basically saying, you can tell when you look at the partner list, and any partner that's on there, they are up to date with, well, one, the IRS, that they are fiscally responsible, that they are doing with the money they raise what they claim to be doing with the funds. And so if they've got a sponsor that gave them $10,000 to buy tablets for children, you can guarantee that the bulk of those funds went to that. And it's about, part of it is about that, but the other part is also about being able to look in one location and you can see these organizations are doing phenomenal things for sickle cell disease. And so there is a committee that Yolanda is over that reviews all of that. And anyone can partner. Anyone can partner with the consortium who is active in this space and actively doing a number, you're active opinion leader, you're going to events. I know when I was younger, sometimes it was just every single paper in school. If I had an opportunity to choose the subject, somebody was learning about sickle cell. I didn't know it, but I was an advocate at age 8 because, and I think a lot of our children are, and this is a way to organize us all, and then we can get a lot done. So we talked a bit about requirements, and the requirements are What are the requirements to become partners? Well, you do need to be a 501c3 if you're trying to become a credentialed CBO. If you are actively working towards becoming one, then JCBO. You must be active in the space. You must be actually doing work in the community. And a lot of this that was shared here was about the paperwork. And there is a lot, it's paperwork, but once it's done for organizations that first year, then it's an update. Years after that, it's every 5 years that all that paperwork is done again. Updates for JCBOs, independent patients and caregivers, as Yolanda mentioned, you do have to update yours every year, your advocacy resume. But we show you how to write an advocacy resume, how to become very, very active in this space. And once you partner, and once you've completed all that paperwork, and you can reach out to Yolanda to ask any questions about it. And once you've got it done that first time, it becomes much simpler after that. Then we all get together. March previously, those of you that might be thinking about joining us new with the digital summits, or those that joined us in 2020, you haven't yet had the experience of the in-person summit, which adds the benefit of a lot of in-person engagement. And we bring our partners to that meeting. So partnered when they come to the summit, the consortium has covered the hotel and the flight to bring our partners in, because we actually have to get to work. And we get to work identifying projects, identifying priorities, and doing all of the projects. I wanted to, if you missed this slide, some of the things that we've done in the in-person and we're looking forward to doing again are our partners. We've professional headshots for partners, branding and marketing support, the RFP, request for proposals, and training. We have done grant writing training. We did LOIs where partners were invited to, we sent out a mock grant. So we've done this in phases. In phase 1, we sent out a mock grant, and we asked partners to send us a letter of intent, an LOI, for replying to that grant. And then we were able to then, this is where that may have, how this can be strengthened. And we had a 2-day grant writing intensive where we focused on teaching our partners how to write grants. Those that participated for 2 days learned about public grants, and we were joined by individuals in government and who do funding, and to teach us how to apply for those, as well as private grants. We were joined by the Dean of UVA, who is an expert in grant writing and identifying private grants. And then this past year, we followed that up with an actual RFP, which is request for proposals, where partners sent in RFPs and they obtained internal grants that we could then use. And we met with them weekly to review the grant, and okay, so now this is how you do this part, and this is how you do that, and provide a lot of fantastic training. In the past, we've done product and merchandise photography. So when you're at the summit, there's a lot of in-person benefits that are on this slide, but they don't really translate to virtual. Virtually, however, there are a number of different benefits. And at the Warrior Convention, partners are actually able to give scholarships to other warriors to attend the convention. And so partner awarded scholarships. Pre-con, we partnered with partners to offer educational sessions, provide the platform, we provide the Hoover platform and things like that. And so once we are all together, there's a number of benefits. And then we're able to me, the biggest benefit that comes from partnering isn't in the different things that we offer to our partners, but it's in being able to choose our priorities. The voting is equal. So the docket opens for partners. We have something called the online docket, where partners can then place problems, needs, gaps, things you identify in the community as something you want to address. And then we prioritize the top 3 and then work with our partners to address those needs. And so very, very excited about all of this. And of course, once partnered, once there are responsibilities. As was mentioned, you are, and Dominique Friend mentioned it, you do have to sit on a infrastructure committee and a special project committee. So those are 2 separate committees. And those are for the priorities. Help choose any of the priorities, mental health, men's initiative, choose any of the priorities, and each partner is asked to help bring that to reality. And then the 10 infrastructure committees are the committees that run the General Assembly. And so there's a lot here. It's a lot to unpack, but Yolanda has outlined where you can go if this is of interest. If you think, I really want to get to work, because it is work. If that's anyone out there, I love partnering with other people who are active and excited to roll up the sleeves and get to work in this community. You can reach out to credentialing at sicklecellconsortium.org to email the credentialing committee. And if you have a specific question for Yolanda, she is ylewis@sicklecellconsortium.org. Thank you so much, Yolanda. It's a real tour de force, that committee, and the amount of work that that committee does. I'm very, very grateful that you guys are so on top of it. And to wrap this up, and then there was a question that was in the chat, and any other questions, contact the team. Here are the emails for our board of directors. We will also, of course, this is all in the directory, but we'll make sure that these things are public.
Excuse me, Dr. Bailey.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. There was one question on Facebook that asked if you could start out as an advocate, an independent advocate. And the answer to that question is absolutely, as long as you're not a board member of a community-based organization.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of other questions here as well. So go ahead and start typing those in if you have more, so that we can, here are the emails to the team. Janine Green, Shamanika, Shayla is, you all did not get a chance to hear from her today, but Shayla is my personal assistant, and she is often who you'll hear from sometimes when my calendar just gets overwhelming. We will make sure all of these things are made public. And now there were a few questions. Yolanda, you have that first question about, and yes, a lot of people do, in fact. We've had several people who joined us as an advocate. However, if there is a caveat here, to be an independent patient or caregiver advocate means you are not part of the executive leadership of an existing organization. If you are, then you cannot be an IPCA, because the independent and then the organizations are different groups, and we have to make sure that they are equally weighted. It's in our bylaws to make sure that they are equally weighted and their votes are equally weighted. So if you have an organization, then you cannot join as an IPCA. But there have been a number of individuals who started as IPCAs and then formed an organization and then partnered with us as a CBO. We've had JCBOs that have then become full CBOs. We've had independent patients that have then become SBOs. They started a support group or something like that. So you are not mandated to stay in any one partner group. There was and if anyone else sees any questions, we're going to take your questions. Thank you all so much for joining this meeting. And I know it went long. It was a long year and we got a lot done, and looking forward to all the fantastic things we have moving forward. Sharonda, while I pull up the questions, did you have any closing remarks?
Yes, so my closing remarks is just basically just like the theme that we were talking about throughout this entire presentation. It is collaborative, collective, and all of those, what they have in common is togetherness. And if we stand and do things together and co-brand and really work together, I think that we can continue to move the needle for the sickle cell community. So that was my closing remark.
Thank you. And for those of you that have stuck around because you'd like to see the trailer or the charisma information, we'll be pulling that up momentarily. There's a question here. We in Canada, the question from the Sickle Cell Foundation of Alberta, we in Canada benefit from a lot of your education. With the new projects, how can we in Canada be recognized in the work that you do? How do we get funding to do our part in Canada? And we do partner with, I think we have 3 or 4 CBOs in Canada, as well as a couple of independent patient caregiver Canadian advocates. And we have partnered with Canada in a number of different ways. So for example, at the convention, one of the things that we worked and tried to do was offer lunch, actual lunch at a virtual convention. Because Canada had a different system, we were able to partner with one of our partners in Canada who then provided lunch for the attendees. And we were able to fund that so that our Canadian partners, our Canadian participants could also have lunch. We've partnered with Canada in publication. So many of the projects that we're doing, we can partner with Canada on. And in fact, STAR, some of the stuff we've done, that Be the Match, that bone marrow one that we did in partnership with STAR, I don't know, I think STAR must be based out of Canada because every time we've had meetings, we had to go to Canada for it. So we have different ways that we've been able to, and will continue to partner with our Canadian partners. And one of the things we're also looking to, as we are going more global, is translating and partnering to provide information in French and Spanish for our French and Spanish speaking warrior siblings and other languages from there. So we're working on ways to partner. And yes, there are many ways to do it. I think that funding is a different conversation. I don't know how the funding mechanism works within Canada, but we have been able to obtain funding of projects that have included Canada on the US side of things. So we'll have to figure out what that looks like as we come across projects that we want to work together on. Are there any other questions? Do you all see any on Facebook everyone?
There's a question Yolanda put in. How do you become your own advocate?
So I'd like some more clarification there. Your own advocate, if that is meaning advocating for yourself, honestly, we actually kind of misuse the word advocate. A lot of times when people are saying that different diseases talk about advocacy, they're usually referring to political advocacy. However, when you're saying advocate for yourself, like in the hospital, the very, very first step in becoming your own advocate is speaking up. Show up and speak up. And that is the very first step for getting involved. If you are having issues or want to know, like, what are the levels of advocacy, like for yourself while in the hospital, if you visit the Sickle Cell Classroom, there are actually videos on there. Tosin Ola, one of our partners, did a fantastic video outlining step by step how to advocate for yourself when you're sick. Is that what that question was referring to, or is it something else? Does anyone know?
I have not seen a response just yet. And for the sickle,
I believe that's what it was, though.
That's sicklecellconvention.org, is that correct?
Sicklecellconvention.org. Go into the Sickle Cell Classroom, and there are a number of videos there. And does anyone have any other questions for us? If there are no additional questions on the Facebook either, I sound old. If there are no additional questions on Facebook either, then I want to just take a moment to thank you all for sticking with us through this very long presentation as we reviewed 2020 and talked about where we are going moving forward in 2021. Thank you all for the partners, those of you that are here inside of Zoom with us. Those of you that are already current existing partners, we're excited to continue working with you all with all of the different work that we're doing. There's a lot of things coming your way. There are a lot of opportunities to get involved and engaged, and we're looking forward to working with you. Those of you that are considering joining us as new partners, we're looking forward to working with you as well. We will get everyone onboarded after partnership, after you do the paperwork. New partners, there is that initial batch of paperwork. Once that is done, there's onboarding. You all will get your partner kits in the mail. Independent patient caregiver advocates, you'll get your business cards. Usually you all pick that up in person at the summit, but you're not going to be able to do that this year, so they're going to have to be mailed out. IPCAs, SPOs, JCBOs, CBOs, we don't make you all business cards. That's IPCA, but you'll get that. You'll get all your information, your Warrior U catalogs, and all of that fantastic information. We'll do our onboarding, which is where you will do the training on just the different things, understanding how the consortium works, basic disease education, and we will move on into new things. We will continue. Partners, please remember, COVID response team could use help if you are an educator or a long-term homeschooler and you'd like to be part of that. Advisory committee, please let us know. That board of educators, reach out to Dominique Friend, President of General Assembly, with questions regarding that. Yolanda Lewis regarding anything for credentialing. And there's a wonderful team in place. We have Shelfina, your partner liaison. Don't forget to reach out to her. Don't forget that you all actually have access to our entire Warrior U platform to offer your own education. So there's a lot of things that are available to you as partners. And so as we continue to grow that, we'll be sending that information out to you.
Dr. Bailey, we have a question. This one is from Facebook. They say if they are currently waiting on their 501c3 status to come through, should they apply as a CBO or JCBO?
So a response was posted there, and we asked that until 501c3 status has been confirmed, that they apply as JCBO. And once that confirmation has come in, because we did have a partner like that before, they were actually in the process, but they wanted to get in before the deadline. And so what they did was submitted everything and let us know. And then once they got that confirmation that, hey, they're 501c3 now, then we were able to move them over as a community-based organization.
Okay, beautiful. Does anyone else have any questions? If not, we're going to wrap this up. Well, all right. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being part of this team. And we're looking forward to continue working with each of you. As some of you are aware, I personally was quite sick for a while, so I know that I have sort of outstanding emails that I need to get to you all, and I am working my way through, I promise. And Shayla is with us and with me to help out, so we'll get through all the emails and responses shortly. Please reach out to the team for any kind of assistance, and we are looking forward to working with each of you as we go into 2021. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all soon. Bye. Now, for those of you that are sticking around to listen to the Charles and the trailer, we're about to start that now.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Dr. Jonasan, or you can call me Dr. J, but I'm the lead investigator of Charisma, a clinical trial built by the community for the community. Now, the word on these streets is that people living with sickle cell battle with pain on a day-to-day basis. In fact, you may be feeling like pain is the greatest barrier get between you and that life that you want to live. Well, that's exactly why we're doing this study, because we want to find out if warriors can teach other warriors how to better manage their pain and their life, but doing all this through a mobile phone. If that sounds interesting, let's meet some of the people living with sickle cell that make charisma. Wait, something missing here. All right, that feels a little bit better. Now, charisma. This is a study for adults with sickle cell disease that experience daily pain. After we spoke to patients and families, we found out that second only to weather, stress is the biggest trigger for pain. So the goal of this study is to find out whether we can improve your health by either giving you strategies on how to reduce stress or by giving you more knowledge about your sickle cell and why you have pain. Our Charisma program is delivered by an AI chatbot called Cilia. Get it? Cilia? No. All right. You will interact with this chatbot through an app on your smartphone. Cilia will have some quick facts to give, simple questions to ask, so she can understand what you need and what you want to do next. And when you're ready, you'll go through several important videos right there on your phone. So in the comfort of your own home, if you like. But what really makes Charisma better than what you've seen and done before is that all of the content features real adults living with sickle cell disease, real people living with pain who know what they're talking about. You don't have to go get lectured from a boring, too academic, out of touch, think they know it all, but don't know anything, book smart, street dumb, can go back where they came from, medical provider like my, who the wrote this? In addition to the app and all the strategies that are going to help you through the day-to-day battle, you'll also have a health coach to support and help keep you engaged. Because if you want to be physically fit, you need a trainer. And the same thing is with this. You need to have someone to push you and help you keep going when you don't feel like it. So that's why you have a health coach, to help you do the things you want to do, to be the person you want to be, to live the life that you want to live. Once you've agreed to be part of the study, you'll be asked to complete a set of questionnaires that will tell us about your stress, your pain, your quality of life. These questionnaires will take about 20 minutes, and you'll complete the same set at 3, 6, and 12 months. And now once you complete the first set of questionnaires, you will be assigned to one of the Charisma groups. The CBT group, which stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, or the Education group. The CBT side of the program will give you strategies on changing your thoughts and behaviors so you can control the effects stress has on your body and prevent stress from causing you more pain. The Education side of the program, produced by the often imitated, never duplicated Sickle Cell 101 group, will walk you through their training program that teaches you the ins and outs of sickle cell and how to manage your pain. And no matter what group you're in, you'll be contacted within 24 hours by your health coach. We ask that you schedule a short introductory phone call with your health coach. But after this first phone call, you can choose to either touch base with your health coach by phone, text, or both. It's up to you. Have it your way. Now, your total time in the study will be 12 months, but the intervention component, where you interact with the chatbot, Cilia, and have weekly support from the health coach, is only 3 months. Now, trust me, that time flies by. The risks of the study are minimal. There's a possibility that you may feel a little uncomfortable or anxious, embarrassed even, discussing personal matters. But remember that you are not obligated to answer any question or perform any task that make you feel uncomfortable. Just say no, just like that. No. If you get tired of us, you can decide to stop participating in the study at any time for any reason. And your decision whether or not to take part in the study will have no effect on your current or future medical care at any hospital or medical institution. If you'd like further information on this study, all the nitty-gritty details are provided following this video. And if you have questions, feel free to just contact me directly. We'll be providing my cell phone number at the end. That's all from me for now. Thank you. It has been a pleasure serving you today.
So that is Charisma. We're looking forward to and excited to be continuing and working with them on that, partnering with other partners. And then next we will show the trailer. I think many of you have seen it, but the trailer for the short film that we're working on.
Another crisis, another visit.
Another jerk. Another heartbreak.
These medical bills. I feel like I'm drowning.
This pain is breaking me. But I'm trying to cope.
Managing this pain is a full-time job, but it doesn't hurt as much as thinking having sickle cell might keep me from being loved.
Dealing with never being in true love. I can't bear that.
Dealing with this alone almost makes life unbearable.
I have to keep trying.
Gotta keep fighting. Please, God.
Please, God.
Let me find someone to love me, to walk with me, to feed me, to dance with me, to console me,
to embrace
me,
to kiss me,
to laugh with me, to love me.
Ordered the crisis chicken wings.
This is my crisis.
Woohoo! I'm excited about that. COVID-19 interrupted the filming schedule for wrapping it up, but we will be able to complete that soon and continue into other creative projects with Sickle Cell TV and other things. So we're just really, really excited about all of it. If there are no last questions, then I think that's it. Thanks you all for sticking it with us. For the partners, some of you guys hung deep. You hung out with us the whole time. We'll talk to you all later. And thanks, Facebook, for joining us. Sharonda, will you stop the Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.